Working with our clients and providing the hand-holding we provide, it has to do with the draws and getting the money from that rehab budget, okay? We spend a lot of time and attention working with our clients to inspect the property and make sure the work is getting done properly. At closing, that money is set aside for that rehab, okay? You don't get it all up front. We don't disperse any of it at closing at all. We only disperse funds from the rehab account, from the rehab funds, which are all set aside, okay? We only disperse it when work is complete. As the work is complete, never beforehand. Really important rule that we insist and require that all of our clients stick to, okay? Do not pay up front. When the work's done, pay on time. We're going to make sure you're going to pay on time, but don't pay in advance. The number of stories that we hear on an ongoing basis with people who gave their contractor $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to get the project going and never saw or heard from the contractor again. We hear it all the time. Whether intentional or unintentional from that contractor, whatever happens, happens. They disappear with that money. The work's not getting done, okay? By making sure the work is done and only paying when the work is complete, you protect yourself. We're looking out again to protect you, to make sure you don't get burned. We're in this together. You get burned, we get burned. We get burned, you get burned. So we're in this together. We're looking out for you. We've got money in it, and you've got money in it. Your skin in the game, our skin in the game. So we're going to make sure that when the work is done, we're going to make sure it was done and done right, and done with the right amount commensurate with how much is needed at that point. We run into that too. They did $6,000 worth of work. The contractor's asking for $20,000 worth of work. We know. Steve's been doing this a few weeks. Dave and I have been doing it just a few weeks as well. Okay, we've got a few years under our belt. We know what to look for. We know what makes sense and doesn't make sense. We know how much should be allocated at any given time. So when we do that, we make sure that we're not going to put ourselves in a position to be exposed and not put you in a position to be exposed. When we look at that rehab budget, we're always keeping in mind how much is left in the rehab budget. Is there enough money to finish the project at any given time? Okay, that's an important thing to keep in mind when you're working on getting a project completed. If there's $5,000 left and you have $30,000 in work, that's an issue. We don't want to be upside down. We don't want the contractor to be ahead of us. That doesn't make sense for any of us. So we have to be really detail-oriented to make sure we're not exposed, you're not exposed. The most important part with the contractors and our clients is just the oversight. Whenever we run into issues with our clients, with their contractors, so when were you out there last? Whenever we talk to our clients and they say they ran into an issue and they went to the property and what was supposed to be done wasn't done, we'll say, when were you there before then? Inevitably, we get that answer every once in a while. Well, I was there 2 weeks ago. I was there 10 days ago. That's not acceptable. If you're doing this and you're in this business, regardless of how much time you have, regardless of how much time you planned on putting forth, okay, you have to be on this every single day. Our best borrowers, our most successful flippers and buy and hold people are there all the time. On their way into work, they stop at the property. On their way back home, they stop at the property. Whether the crew is there working or not doesn't matter. They're still going, checking it out, taking pictures, taking video. If the contractor or the general contractor is not there, they're still communicating with them back and forth. Hey, it doesn't look like that got done. You told me the bathroom was going to be finished yesterday. It didn't get finished. Now your first response is going to be, wait a second, I don't know all the details of what's involved. I don't know what to look for. You don't need to know what to look for. You need to know that things were getting done. We all have enough common sense to see that progress is being made, not asking you to specifically look at whether it's the right electrical box. Some of that stuff you are going to have to essentially leave up to either us or to chance, okay? Or the right pipe was installed. But you know if pipes were installed. You know if a toilet was put in. You know if the drywall was put up. You can tell. And you can tell if nothing's been done and the crew hasn't been there and the door's been locked And clearly no one has done any work on this place for 2 weeks. So the people who are there, stopping every day back and forth and on the weekends, their projects get done. So it's really important to keep that in mind. And you're always going to learn and you're always going to evolve. So being there hands-on every day is essential for that. So that's how that draw process works, and that's how keeping an eye on the contractors work. You find a good person, stick with them, keep them busy, okay? We've had some people who have moved ahead on other projects, and we've been on the phone with them saying, you know, I don't love the deal. It's okay, you're not going to get killed on it, but it's not great. I said, well, I got to keep my crew busy. I got a crew here, okay? I got to keep these guys busy until I find the right next deal. Now that can only go for so long. You don't want to be breaking even or having a tiny profit for 6 properties. But we were on the phone with them. We said, I get it. You have a really good crew. They show up. They're dependable. They're reliable. They do good work at a fair price. All very difficult things to find in the world these days in this local market. So, okay, we get it. We're okay with it, and we ended up moving ahead and doing the deal with them. So that's an approach that happens too. As sort of relationships build over time.